I hope you enjoyed today's scary stories. Consider liking to support the channel and subscribe for more daily videos. Stay sleepless. Last summer, my best friend Emma and I were house-sitting for her eccentric great-aunt, who lived in an aging mansion nestled in a remote suburban neighborhood. The creaking floorboards and dimly lit rooms gave the house an unsettling aura, which was only intensified by its vast, overgrown backyard. One afternoon, after returning from grocery shopping, we settled into the grand living room, surrounded by dusty antiques and creepy portraits. As we watched TV, an inexplicable feeling of being watched washed over me. I glanced at Emma and saw the fear mirrored in her eyes. The unsettling sensation intensified, making the room feel suffocating. Trying to shake off the unease, I suggested stepping outside for a smoke to calm our nerves. But as I approached the floor-to-ceiling window, my heart dropped. The sensor-triggered lights outside flickered to life, illuminating the dark yard. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end, and I quickly abandoned the idea of going outside. Emma clutched my arm tightly, trembling as she pointed towards the window. A chilling silhouette of a person stood motionless in the yard. Panic surged through me as I reached for my phone to call for help. But before I could dial, the figure vanished into the shadows. Fear consumed us as we locked all the doors and windows. Emma's heart condition made the situation even more perilous, and I tried my best to keep her calm. Minutes felt like hours until the sound of windows being tampered with shattered the eerie silence. My mind raced with possible suspects. Emma's estranged and mentally unstable mother, or perhaps a sinister burglar. The tension was unbearable as we anxiously waited for my parents to arrive. When the sound of my dad's car finally pulled up outside, relief washed over us. We quickly recounted the chilling events of the evening. My dad reassured us while my mom called the police. As we waited for the authorities, we tried to make sense of the situation. The police arrived, thoroughly searching the premises, but found no trace of the mysterious intruder. They promised to increase patrols in the area and advised us to stay vigilant. In the aftermath of that harrowing experience, Emma and I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, even in our own homes. To this day, the identity of the malevolent watcher remains a chilling mystery, and the memory of that night lingers, leaving us forever changed. Last autumn, I took on a house-sitting job for a family living in an old, isolated farmhouse surrounded by dense woods. The house itself had an eerie charm, with its creaky wooden floors and mysterious attic. On the second night of my stay, a lingering unease kept me tossing and turning in bed. I blamed it on the chilling tales I had read online earlier that evening. The wind howled outside, making the branches tap against the windows like bony fingers. Maggie, the old Labrador retriever, usually slept peacefully with me, but that night she kept pacing restlessly. I felt her anxiety seep into my bones, but I brushed it off as mere coincidence. As the clock struck 2:26 a.m., Maggie woke me up by whining beside the bed. I tried to ignore her, assuming she needed to relieve herself, but then I noticed the icy chill permeating the room. Goosebumps rose on my arms, and I realized the house was unusually cold. With reluctance, I followed Maggie downstairs to the kitchen where a strange feeling of being watched engulfed me. Every sound amplified in the silence, making my heart pound. The back door was ajar, slightly open as if inviting someone in. I mustered the courage to investigate the source of my discomfort, clutching the kitchen knife tightly. Every creak of the floor made me jump, expecting an intruder to leap out from the shadows. After a quick inspection, I locked the back door, my nerves on edge. Maggie refused to leave my side, sensing the presence of something sinister. I returned to bed, hoping to put the strange events behind me, but sleep remained elusive. An hour later, Maggie woke me again, her growls tinged with fear. My heart raced, and I rushed downstairs to find the back door ajar once more. Panic surged within me as I realized someone had broken in while I was asleep. With trembling hands, I dialed the police and my dad, who lived nearby. The police arrived swiftly, but but the intruder had vanished without a trace. As they searched the property, I noticed an unsettling silence had fallen upon the woods outside, as if the night itself held its breath. The family, shocked by the incident, moved away soon after, leaving the farmhouse to its secrets. To this day, I shudder at the thought of what malevolent force lurked in those woods, and wonder what sinister intentions had brought the intruder to the secluded farmhouse. Around 15 years ago, my sister Emily was house-sitting for a reclusive elderly couple who lived in a mansion reminiscent of an eerie Gothic novel. The sprawling estate was surrounded by an eerie fog, enhancing its foreboding appearance. One weekend, I decided to accompany Emily to keep her company. The house was filled with peculiar antiques, and the walls seemed to whisper haunting secrets. The husband and wife had no children, and rumors circulated about a tragic past that shrouded their lives. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows throughout the house, I couldn't help but feel an oppressive weight pressing upon us. Emily dismissed it as mere imagination, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Despite the unease, we spent the afternoon enjoying the vast gardens and playing with their two dogs, Samson and Sadie. Samson was gentle, while Sadie exhibited an uncharacteristic restlessness, barking at invisible foes. Later that night, while Emily was working out on the treadmill in the dimly lit basement, I roamed the hallways, my heart pounding with trepidation. The old oil paintings on the walls appeared to watch my every move, their eyes following me. When I heard the distant echo of the alarm beeping, I rushed to the basement. Emily seemed to brush it off as a minor glitch, but I could feel an ominous presence lingering. The walls felt like they were closing in, suffocating me with their secrets. In an attempt to calm ourselves, we decided to watch a movie in the living room. However, as the movie progressed, the shadows seemed to dance eerily on the walls, and the faint echo of footsteps echoed through the empty rooms. As the clock struck midnight, the dogs' growls pulled us from our unease. They stared intently at the closed door, sensing something sinister beyond. Emily's face drained of color, and I felt a cold sweat on my brow. Suddenly, the alarm beeped again, but this time it felt like a warning from the spirits that haunted the mansion. Panic set in as we locked ourselves in the guest bedroom, clinging to the dogs for comfort. Outside, the fog thickened, shrouding the mansion in darkness. Whispers echoed through the walls, and the house seemed to breathe as if it had a life of its own. The night dragged on, each moment stretching into eternity. Every creak of the floorboards, every distant howl of the wind, sent shivers down our spines. As dawn approached, we were physically and emotionally drained. The feeling of being trapped in the mansion's ominous presence weighed heavily on our souls. When the first rays of sunlight pierced through the fog, we let out a sigh of relief, believing the worst was over. However, our sense of safety was short-lived. The eerie events of the night haunted our thoughts. We decided to cut our stay short and inform the elderly couple about our unnerving experience. When the couple returned, they listened intently to our account, their faces a mix of concern and sadness. They revealed the tragic tale of their past, which had been cloaked in secrecy for so long. Years ago, the husband, a renowned artist, had lost his only child to a terrible accident within the mansion. The pain of the loss had consumed them, and they became reclusive, retreating from the world. The art and masks that adorned the house were their way of holding on to their child's memory. As we left the mansion that day, we couldn't shake the feeling that we had disturbed something more than just the spirits of the deceased. We had unwittingly tapped into the immense sorrow that enveloped the couple and their home. In the years that followed, the mansion remained vacant, its chilling reputation deterring potential buyers. The local townspeople whispered about the haunted estate, and some even claimed to see apparitions moving within its shadows. Our lives moved forward, but the memory of that haunting weekend stayed with us, leaving a lasting impression of the supernatural realm intertwining with the living world. As we grew older, my sister and I often discussed the events of that night, contemplating whether we had encountered something beyond our understanding, or if it was merely the product of our overactive imaginations. The mansion and its eerie legacy became a part of our personal folklore. To this day, the mansion remains an enigmatic specter of the past, a reminder that some secrets are better left undisturbed, and that the boundary between the living and the afterlife is far more blurred than we dare to admit. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed today's scary stories, consider subscribing and dropping a like on the video. If you have any ideas for what stories you would want to hear next, feel free to drop a comment below. Stay sleepless.